And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. We're going to get right into this and give shout outs to those who gave super thanks last week. And as always, the title of the video comes from one of those super thanks. Without further ado, let's get right into this. First up, this comes from my LeBron James Fanboy hits new level of ridiculousness. And as I can recall, this particular fanboy was trying to blame the Miami super team on everyone but LeBron. I mean, he blamed it on Pat Riley for not saying, hey, I'm not going to be a part of this. He blamed it on Eric Spoelstra for saying, hey, I refuse to coach someone who's going to form a super team. I mean, this guy literally blamed it on everybody but LeBron. Fanboys, you guys are hitting the all-time low, or an all-time high, depending on how you look at it. If what you seek is delusion, then I guess you're hitting the all-time high. But anyway, shout out to @ThanosSnapFeminism coming through with the $2 super thanks. And he says 1.5 championships. Sounds like one in the possible. A bad spades hand. Indeed. I still try to play spades at least once a month. One of my favorite card games to play. And like I said, to me, LeBron James, he has 1.5 championships. He should not get full credit for how he's went about his career. But shout out to @ThanosSnapFeminism with the $2 super thanks. You are greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, this is coming from my Kevin Durant versus Keyshawn Johnson video. Shout out to @QQ or @KK. He changed it to 1981. I believe it was 810, but shout out to @QQ 1981. He comes through with the $10 super thanks, and as usual, he simply says thanks and thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. Greatly appreciated. And next up, shout out to Vernon Lee Warren 280 coming from my Michael Jordan interview exposes LeBron James and his weak mentality. And he comes through with the $5 super thanks. He says, thank you very much for this long video. I absolutely loved it. LeBron James is even more exposed more than ever. Jordan was a real man and a real competitor. No one comes close to Jordan, and those are just the facts. Keep up the great work. Shout out to Vernon Lee Warren. Again, thank you so much for your continued support. Longtime supporter of the channel. And next up, and this is where the video comes from. Shout out to @SnugChamberlain9986 coming through with the $2 super thanks. And he says, thanks, my guy. Great content as usual. Shout out to you. Angry Old Hoop, Sports and Fitness Rants, Phenomenal Fitness, D. Allen Ricks TV, Man Down Sports, 2 Raw, and Dreamers Pro. You guys do an amazing job. I've got 3 questions I'd like your insight on. And the first question, he says, I recently saw an interview with highly decorated coach Bob Knight, which probably took place in 2024 or a few years ago. But in the interview, a reporter asked Bob Knight who he thought was the best basketball player he ever seen. And without hesitation, the reporter asked if LeBron James was the best, and Bob Knight said, no, don't even think about anybody else. It's Michael Jordan. This is the coach that's been around the game of basketball for 50 years. Clearly, he's seen many great athletes, but Michael Jordan's and the eye test stood out. My question is, why do you think it's a constant need to push or put the deer in the conversation? I mean, the reporter didn't even try to name anyone else. They strictly went to LeBron James and said what and said, was he the best player he'd ever seen? And you can tell Coach Knight felt disrespected and disgusted by LeBron James and this GOAT debate because he quickly said no. But it's how he said no. It was the tone in which he said no. So what do you think about Coach Knight's comments on the GOAT debate? And as a matter of fact, because you brought this question up and I wanted to see that interview for myself, we are going to actually take a listen to this clip right here before we get right back into it. So let's check this clip out.
Anything else you'd like to add, Coach?
Well, I don't know. You're the guy supposed to be answering questions or asking questions.
I thought I had some good ones in there.
Well, no, you did, but ask some more if you want to.
All right. As far as just the overall game of basketball, I know you're not a big NBA fan, but LeBron James, is he the best guy you've ever seen?
No. The best guy that ever played the game is Michael Jordan. Don't even think about anybody else.
Not even close?
Not even close.
Why is that?
Because he was just better than anybody. He was smarter. He was tougher. He won more. Although there are two things about when you talk about players. You talk about the best player and you talk about the most valuable player. Without any thought that the best player was Michael Jordan.
All right, so yeah, so this was like on a news segment, and then this guy, I guess, was one of the anchors. Seemed like he had some kind of relationship with Bobby Knight, and I didn't play that part of the clip, but he actually talks about that. He had some kind of relationship with Bobby Knight, and he had worked with him before or something. But anyway, you know, Bobby gave him his number and said, hey, if you ever want to do an interview, I'll do it. So this guy called him up and Bobby Knight gave him that interview. And so, yeah, you know, we hear how Bobby Knight responded. And I think this is the way that most of us feel. I mean, forget LeBron James, you know, it's like, don't even think about anybody else. And, you know, and he said not only was Michael Jordan the best, but he was smarter and tougher than everyone else. This is what Coach Knight said. And again, I mean, like you said, he legendary coach who has coached many great people, including Isaiah Thomas, which I have a feeling that, you know, that may play into Isaiah's dislike of Jordan as well. You know, it's just seeing everybody. You know, it's like basically Jordan was still in Isaiah's shine back in those days. You know, it was the bad boy Pistons, and Jordan came along, took over the city of Chicago. You know, legendary coach Bobby Knight was already saying that, hey, Michael Jordan's the best player I ever seen. And yeah, you know, for you fanboys out there, he said Michael Jordan was not only the best, but he was smarter and tougher than everybody else, including your king, who has the most overrated IQ that we have seen in the history of the NBA. The way that they constantly talk about LeBron James' IQ is completely ridiculous when clearly this guy's IQ is questionable at best. But anyway, so he said, let's get to the actual question. And he said, my question is, why do you think it's a constant need to push or put the deer in the conversation? And my answer to that is, I think it's a couple of things at play. Number one, it was the NBA at play, looking to replace Michael Jordan. To me, this has always been the initial motivation behind what has happened with LeBron. Is that the NBA has been trying to replace Michael Jordan since Michael Jordan left. And, you know, not only monetarily, but just, you know, from an excitement level. Again, Michael Jordan made non-basketball fans want to watch the game of basketball. And again, the NBA has been trying to replace it using unnatural ways when Michael Jordan happened organically. Like, you know, you have to be the kind of person that Michael Jordan is. You have to be coming up in a time in the NBA where they create obstacles for you to overcome. Again, this is what I think the NBA doesn't understand, is you're never going to have a player who's exciting as Michael Jordan if you don't create obstacles for these players to overcome and test them, and put them through the grind to see who really wants it, how bad do you actually want it? This is what creates those kind of players. Kobe had his own obstacles he had to overcome. Coming in from high school and not being able to take over the team immediately. But it's the obstacles that test your character. And, as we see, the modern NBA is lacking in character severely. The modern NBA is severely lacking in character. So, yeah, I think part of it is that, again, that the NBA has been searching for Michael Jordan. And I think it got to the point to where the NBA said, you know what, we're just going to create a Michael Jordan. Whether this person actually lives up to the standards or not, we're going to create a Michael Jordan and just use the media to sell this idea to everybody that this player must be this great. Now, and then the other half of that is because they let LeBron James get away with so much, including Clutch Sports. So now, not only do you have the NBA who's promoting this for various reasons. Again, I think the NBA has a vested interest in trying to make it look like the game of basketball is just evolving so quickly, which is completely ridiculous. I'm saying human beings only evolve so fast. Period. You're talking about over the last 20 years or so. I mean, man, please. And I know a lot of these I know that it's modern medicine and all these things, reasons that they cite for this. But again, if you're just being realistic and you look at the game, the so-called more skill has come at the expense of fundamentals. The so-called more skills has come at the expense of the game actually being harder. So, they're not more skill, and maybe on average is more athleticism on average, just based on, again, modern medicine and, more knowledge about how to train. However, just go back through the history of the NBA, go look at some old tapes, and you will see there has always been extraordinary athletes, and probably, especially if you the younger kids go back and look at, it's probably more explosive athletes than you think. Again, I think of people like Robert Pack. He was dunking on people. KJ would dunk on you. So a lot of these shorter guards, they would dunk on you. So yeah, the NBA has had great athleticism for quite some time. So yeah, everything is just overblown in a attempt to make it seem that the NBA has came such a long way. And like I said, and then they let LeBron James get away with Clutch Sports infiltrating everything. So not only do you have the NBA trying to promote it, now you got LeBron James himself and his agency trying to promote it for his own personal gain, for his own praise, because this is what it's about for LeBron James, So, it's both of those things together. And this is why, again, like I said, to me, the trick that they played on everybody was to just leapfrog LeBron past everybody and put him in the GOAT conversation. And this is why you got all these people running around talking about LeBron as number 2. He's number 2, but not the number, not next to Michael Jordan. But but they did it by leapfrogging him past everybody and just selling this narrative that, oh, well, if he's not number 1, then he's definitely number 2. So even people who seem to be reasonable aren't reasonable at all. Stephen A. Smith. I don't think Skip Bayless had him as number 2, but Skip Bayless has been capping for LeBron for quite some time now. Even though he'll say some disparaging things about LeBron, he still has been capping for LeBron as well. So yeah. But anyway, let's move on to the next question. He says, my golden years for me was the early 2000s, where you had your Kobe's, Iversons, Vince Carter's, Tracy McGrady's, Shaq's, Duncan's, Weber's, Garnett. This was the time when All-Star Games players wore their own team's home jersey or away jersey in the All-Star Game, which they need to bring back. but it was also a time where Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan took over the league from 1999 to 2000. 10 championships between the two. My question is, which of the two do you think inserted more dominance during the decade? For me, it's Kobe, and to me, it's hands down Kobe. For a couple of reasons. Number one, I tend to, and matter of fact, I wish I had played the, or maybe it was a different interview I was thinking about. I watched a couple of Bobby Knight interviews, but anyway, in one of them, he basically said that he feels the same way that I feel, that he tends to think that smaller players have to be more skilled than the bigger players. They have to be, just by the nature of their position, they have to be able to do more things. And maybe he was given that for a reason of why he think Jordan was better than Russell or some other. But anyway, I feel the same thing. When it comes to Kobe versus a big man, I tend to favor players like Kobe, like Jordan, to me, who have to be more skilled and can't rely on size. So that's one reason, to me, I give it to Kobe. Now, the other reason is because, to me, dominance, what is the strength of your dominance is how concentrated of a period you were dominant in. And, basically, Kobe had what? Let's see here. Yeah, Kobe had a 10-year stretch in which he had 5 championships. And, a lot of people want to try to discredit it because of the Shaq thing. Again, I always say, yeah, maybe you can say that about the very first championship, that it was more Shaq's team. But to me, definitely by the second championship, that they were equals on that team. They were co-captains on that team for that second and third championship of the three-peat. And but I mean, if you look at Tim Duncan's championships, they won in 99, 2003, 2005, 2007, 2014. So it was very spread out. He definitely doesn't have a three-peat and doesn't even have a two-peat within that. So, to me, the dominance is diluted. It's not as concentrated as Kobe's dominance, who, has the three-peat, and then he has the back-to-back in 2009 and 2010. For me, again, that's what makes Michael Jordan, so is that he had those 6 championships in the 90s, and of course the 2 three-peats. Three-peat, retire, come back, another three-peat. To me, your dominance is about the concentrated period that you have. And, to me, this is why LeBron James has no claim of dominance in his era. You can't call it LeBron James' era, except the fact that the media has promoted it as his era. But to me, if you're being real, you can't call this LeBron James' era. I mean, yes, he has a two-peat, but that was with a super team. And then, all of his champions, outside of that, his championships are very spread out and and questionable at best. So yeah, between Kobe and Duncan, I'm gonna go with Kobe because I think he had a more concentrated period of winning. And then, like I said, he has a three-peat and then a two-peat. So if for those who don't want to give him full credit for the three-peat because he played with Shaq, like I said, to me, at least the last 2 championships of the three-peat, 2001, 2002, to me, by that time, they were definitely co-captains. They were equals to me. To me, Kobe was just as important to those championships as Shaq was. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Kobe. And last but not least, he says, lastly, will you bring back the classic Bill Duke and Tyron Turner? You done effed up, right? Will it ever make a return back to the channel? And if so, do you think fanboys are going to want to stay off the channel for a while? Well, you know what? Since you brought it up, I'm gonna do my best to bring it back this coming Friday. So, for this coming Fanboy Friday, we will bring back the Tyron Turner and Bill Duke And, I think in general, fanboys hate this channel because, again, to me at the end of the day, I'm going to always bring it back to something that you really can't refute. And that is, whatever you have to say, I don't want to talk about LeBron James' accolades or statistics before I'm ever willing to have a discussion about it with any of you fanboys. Before I'm ever willing to have one discussion about 1 point, 1 assist, 1 rebound, 1 championship, any of his accolades, we need to first establish whether you think LeBron James played with integrity. We need to establish, how do you feel about him flopping? We need to establish, how do you feel about the fact that he personally took it upon himself to join the competition? No, this wasn't management's decision. This was LeBron James saying, hey, I want to play. And then, it's been coming out more and more, all the players that he's tried to recruit, which just means like LeBron James has spent his whole career trying to recruit the best people in the NBA, which is a complete mockery of competition. You know what? Yeah, fanboys. So before we ever have a conversation, before I'm willing to have a conversation with any fanboy, we have to discuss these things, and we have to fact and see. Here's going to be the thing: if you fanboys tell me that these things don't bother you, if you tell me that, hey, well, I know he flops, but it just is what it is. Or if you tell me, yeah, he chose to be on a super team, but he still got 4 championships. Yeah, if you tell me that these things don't factor in at all, then we have nothing to talk about. We have absolutely nothing to talk about. So, you fanboys, I've been telling you since the beginning of this channel, just click off. It's for you. If you want to remain in your delusion, comfortable, with no pressure and no feelings of guilt, because I know you probably feel guilty when I start pointing out some of the stuff I point out about LeBron. It probably brings up feelings of guilt because deep down inside, it's the truth, but you can't admit it because, you spent your life defending LeBron James. But yeah, it would save you a lot of trouble if you just click off. But, we all know that you guys are masochistic and you love the pain. So, this Friday we'll bring back the Bill Duke and Tyron Turner before we start the videos. But anyway, shout out to everyone who gave super thanks. You all are greatly appreciated. I really cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for everyone that supports the channel, for everyone that likes the videos, for everyone who constantly leaves your comments, who subscribe to the channel. If you watch my videos and haven't subscribed, it would be greatly appreciated if you do subscribe. And like I always say at the end of these videos, please continue to support everyone who is bringing you their true, unfiltered, unpaid for, honest opinions about the game of basketball, about other sports, and about life in general. Please continue to support these other content creators. Michael Jordan fans are the best. Angry Old Hoops, Sports and Fitness Rants, Phenomenal Fitness, Retro Heat Check. Who else we got? 2 Raw, Ticket TV, Dreamers Pro, Hoop Guide 23, NMB Sports, and anybody else I forgot at the moment. But yeah, continue to support these people. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about any of the topics. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.